This video is brought to you by America First Insight. Help support the growing conservative movement by becoming a member today. And if you want to support this channel, you can also use the code REAL when becoming a member. Thank you and enjoy the video. So as everyone probably knows, the Republican Party in 2030 are going to gain a bunch of House seats via the census, as states like Illinois, California, New York, these very Democrat states, they are losing a bunch of people, and it's so bad for Democrats that come the 2030 census, they're going to lose a bunch of electoral votes and therefore House seats in 2030 to very Republican states that are gaining people like Florida, like Texas, like Tennessee, and it might get even worse. As a little while ago, President Trump put out this statement saying, "I have instructed our Department of Commerce to begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern-day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Yeah, this is a real statement from President Trump. Not some fake BS, it is real. He is calling for a brand new census this year. Good. It's about time that this administration admits that, yeah, the 2020 census, really 2021 under Biden, it was a scam. That census sucked. There were a ton of problems that even some Democrats admit, yeah, there were some issues with. But guess what? They don't care because the census was just good enough for Democrats where they could say, oh, it's over. Because if they actually did their jobs in 2020 and 2021, Democrats would have lost even more House seats than they did. But of course, the Census Bureau did not do that. Either way, though, Trump is saying he wants a new census, but most importantly, he wants to not count those that are here illegally, which is a big issue. Democrats, for whatever reason, want illegals counted on the census. Gee, I wonder why. It's as if states like California, New York, Illinois, they have a ton of illegal immigrants. And Democrats gain free congressional seats because of that. Well, if they're not counted, God knows how many seats California or New York loses. Because, let's face it, there are way more illegal immigrants in America right now than they claim. They claim it's maybe 12 million. Now some people are saying, oh, it's maybe 20 million. Guys, it's probably 40 million. For all we know, it's closer to 40 to 50 million people. That's how bad it's gotten. And you know damn well states like California have a bunch of them. Now, of course, states like Texas has a bunch also, but let's cut the crap. California would lose a ton of seats. Same thing with New York. Some estimates say these Democrat states may lose upwards of 10 congressional districts, and Republican states gain all 10 of them. Yeah, that's why this is a big deal. This is why the Democrat Party, they are panicking. They want illegals counted, because if it isn't, you're going to see a magical drop-off in California. Just watch. If they actually go through with the census, which again, legally, there might be some issues with it, just watch. Overnight, the population of California crashes. That's what's going to happen more than likely. And that's why they don't want it to happen. They don't want a new census, let alone one that does not include illegals. Because that's how they gain districts. That's how they gain electoral votes, having a bunch of illegal aliens. Well, now, this census, according to Trump, will not be counted, and he's pushing for the Department of Commerce to go through with it. Good. It's about time we talk about this as a serious matter, because again, 2020, that was a scam. And in my opinion, doing only one census every 10 years, that's stupid. It should be done every 5 years. It made sense back in the 1800s or whatever, but really? It's the year 2025. Why the hell can't we do a census every 5 years? It just makes too much sense. We should be doing it every 5 years. Because for two major reasons. A, you have states like California, Illinois, New York, they're losing so many people every single day that at this point they would probably lose a couple congressional districts. How is it fair for states like New York, Illinois, California to lose all these people. People are fleeing their states to red states. Why is it fair that they keep their congressional districts? Why? And Republican states like Tennessee, they don't gain one. At least not till maybe 2030. And on top of that, in the second part, is funding. If you have more people in your state, you're going to get more money. Why should states be rewarded for losing millions of people? Why? They shouldn't be. That's why I think we should do a census every 5 years. Plus, they kind of do that already. They kind of do a yearly estimate anyways with a census. They do other stuff too. Just make it a full-blown census every 5 years. And be done with it. You kind of already do that anyways. But we get the point that they might do another census again. The courts may say you can't. But if they go through with this, we got to talk about the political consequences. Because there is a bunch of reasons why Democrats don't want this. Again, they lose a bunch of electoral votes. But I don't think people really understand how big of a deal this is. I mean, earlier today, Ron DeSantis basically said that, hey, if they don't count illegals on the census, Democrat states would lose 10 congressional districts. Therefore, 10 electoral votes. That's what DeSantis said today. And all those electoral votes, they would be going to states like Tennessee, like Idaho, these very Republican states. And he also said, if they go through the census, they will redistrict the lines immediately. They're going to redraw the maps anyways, but they're going to hopefully wait. And if the census goes through and it's legal and they can actually do it, they're going to redraw the lines with that census data, which theoretically means they would gain an extra House seat. That's a huge deal. And a quick reminder that the early estimates for 2030 census is not looking good for Dems. Look at this. The Democrats are losing like 10 electoral votes in safe Democrat states, or 9, or whatever. Meanwhile, states like Texas, Florida, Idaho, Utah, they're gaining a shit ton. In total, Republican states gain 11. If you want to exclude Arizona, it's 10. And these safe Democrat states, like California, like New York, they lose roughly 9. Because Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, they're going to more than likely lose 1 each. So yeah, all these districts, they're going to the South. They're going to the Republican states like Tennessee, or I should say Florida and Texas. And even Tennessee, they may gain 1. This is just one estimate. And you see the problem. This is without illegals being excluded. If they were excluded, we're talking about a potential net gain of 20 electoral votes and potentially 20 congressional districts. Yeah, now do you see the issue? Democrats don't want this because in 2030, they're going to get hammered. But now, if you don't include illegals, look at that. You're going to get crushed. And you know what? Let me pull up this map. This is the electoral map for 2030 if the estimates hold true. Again, not excluding illegals, just the 2030 estimates. And according to these numbers, if these numbers are true, which we'll see, Republicans would win the election with only 3 states. They would only have to win Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. They don't even have to win Nevada. They don't have to win any of the Rust Belt states. If they win these 3 states in the Sun Belt, it doesn't matter what happens in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada. It doesn't matter. They win the election. That's a big deal. That's why Democrats are panicking about 2030. But now, if Democrats, if they lose 10 extra seats in 2025 because of the exclusion of illegals, do the math. If Republicans gain an extra 10 seats without anything happening, they would be at 283. In that scenario, they wouldn't have to win Arizona. Yeah, they would be roughly at 270. If you include Arizona gaining maybe an extra one, maybe we'll see. More than likely, Republicans would be at 270, or worst case scenario in this map, 269. which would give Republicans the presidency, and more than likely, a big House majority. Yeah, that's how bad this gets for Dems. If the estimates hold true, and they go through with this census, and even if they don't, let's say they don't go through with the census this year because it's illegal. Well, if they exclude illegal aliens in 2030, they're going to lose 10 seats then. So, yeah, this is looking awful for Dems. This is why they're panicking. They don't want this. Because already for 2030, the estimates look like shit. It looks like Democrats are going to lose everything. But now, Republicans, come 2030, they may only have to win 2 states of the kind of swing states. And you could argue North Carolina really isn't a swing state. Yeah, it's close, but it leans to the right. So really, under this map, they would only have to win either Georgia or Pennsylvania. That's it. Or even Michigan, maybe. So, yeah, this is looking good for the Republican Party. And now you may exclude illegals. This just gets awful for Dems across the board. It might be even worse. It might get even worse. God knows how many illegal aliens are really in Illinois or California. Would anybody be surprised if California loses like 10 seats? I wouldn't be. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. But at this point, I don't want to know how many illegal immigrants are in California. I don't want to know, if I'm being completely honest. So, yeah, this is looking awful for Dems across the board with the current map. Again, a lot can happen. We don't know what the census is going to do. We don't know if it's going to even happen. But the fact that we're even talking about this potentially happening, that's a big deal. That is a huge deal for 2026, 2028, and especially 2030. Things can get ugly real quick for Dems, and it might happen this year. It may happen as early as this year or maybe early next year. And if redistricting does happen, even more, there goes the House for Dems. I don't see how Democrats win the House in that scenario. If they redraw the maps, redo the census, I just don't see it. I just don't see the pathway for Dems in this House in 2026, unless something crazy happens, which it might. But right now, I'm just not seeing it. The numbers right now point to the Republican Party retaining their majority for a good bit. And even winning the Electoral College without much effort, if this goes through. But, again, anything can happen. The courts may say it's illegal, which they probably will. But the fact that we're even talking about, excluding illegal aliens, that's a good thing. That's going to make Democrats realize, oh crap, we have a big problem. We're going to lose a bunch of voters in California. We're screwed. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.